Opportunities that are specifically geared at women or underrepresented individuals in the field, or first-generation scholars, and or scholars that are doing kind of brand new cutting edge, maybe not so widespread methodological approaches.
I can speak. So in terms of our programs, I would just say we're funded by Department of State for a significant portion of our programs. They are extremely interested in making sure that those groups are represented in our awardees. And so if you're from an institution that is not, one of the larger research institutions, women, minorities, all of these groups are extremely important. But specifically in Palestine, there is a faculty development seminar where faculty who have never traveled to Palestine have an opportunity to go for several weeks and participate in some coursework, and then hopefully will lead to contributions to their own coursework when they return to the States. And we have slots set aside, 3 slots set aside for representatives of MSI institutions, minority serving institutions.
Wonderful, thank you.
NSF has several opportunities, things that come to mind. For example, in the SBE Sciences, we have a postdoctoral competition that focuses on members of underrepresented groups. We have an REU competition, which is research experience for undergraduates, that focuses primarily on giving undergraduates from underserved groups and other groups actual research experiences. And so, for example, the Ralph Bunche Institute was funded under that for a long time. There's John Ishiyama and several of his colleagues at the University of North Texas has one that is being funded at this time that's primarily for Hispanics and for Native Americans. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, I think, as you pointed out, we really watch to make sure that our portfolio is a broad portfolio, and that's both across different types of academic institutions, it's across different types of people. And so what I like to tell people is, well, one, we like to see it spread. Our panel likes to see a lot of diversity in recommendations. And for us as program officers, if we're looking at where we're going to give our marginal dollar, I'd rather give our marginal dollar to somebody at a minority serving institution where it would have a huge impact than somebody at, going back to a Harvard or an MIT, just because I've already mentioned them once, because that doesn't have as much impact. And it has impact in 2 ways. One, it has impact on these individuals' careers. Okay. But 2, it has impacts on their colleagues, because their colleagues look out and say, if they can get money, perhaps we can get money. It's not a closed institution to us. And so, so those are some of our opportunities.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we have many different guidelines for many different funds within APSA, so I'm mentally running through them right now. The only one that I can pull off the top of my head that is in the research grant category that is defined by the person who applies is what's actually called our small research grants. And these are for faculty who are at non-PhD granting institutions or who are not on the tenure track. And the purpose there is to make sure that people who don't necessarily have access to the seed funding at their own home institution do have a home at APSA where they can get that sort of project funding started. The second point is that we have a number of funds which are aimed at supporting particular kinds of research. So we have the Margaret Ross Barnett Fund, the Rita Mae Kelly Fund, the Special Fund for Women of Politics. All of these are intended to support research on women, on the intersection of women, race, gender, ethnicity. And a new one for us that we're delighted to launch this year is the Sherrill Fund Pre-Doctoral Dissertation Award, which will be for the study of LGBT politics as well. So we'll be rolling that out in the coming months. And then finally, I would say we also have just open grants through the Second Century Fund and the Centennial Center. This year we part funded the Women of Color workshop that happened here, which was a great success. And we're always really looking forward for those applications that are going to both make the discipline more diverse, but also inclusive, and bring people together in groups in ways that enrich the discipline, because it's bringing new questions in as well as bringing more people in as well.
Great.
So ERC is a little bit different. As I said, our focus is really on scientific quality only, and we feel we have to be consistent with that aspect. Having said that, we are acutely aware of inequalities, and when we measure them, we try to pay great attention. What we do when we do see them, when we see biases, particularly in our evaluation work, then we take a great effort to brief our panels. If they see these biases, we do analysis. How can we avoid those? And how can we make sure that is really the quality only? Now, ERC is but only one part of the EU framework program, of the EU science funding family, so to speak. And we do have specific programs outside of ERC that try to help groups that are yet less successful, and that involves gender, that involves regional, very important in Europe. Eastern Europe tends to be less successful, Southern Europe. So we have specific programs like the Jean Monnet chairs, for example, that try to help and develop capacity building programs in a sense.
Wonderful.
I'd just like to come back because I totally forgot something, and I'm glad you brought it up, which is the Women in Color workshop. That was something that the political science program at NSF helped to fund. And we funded a number of those types of things. And one of the nice things about NSF is that program officers have some flexibility in, you were mentioning small amounts of funds. Yeah. Well, I can sign off on workshop proposals for up to $50,000. And I tend to use the workshop proposals either to create critical groups along some research topic, or to help create networks in these sorts of areas.
Thank you. And I would just add a plug for the association as well.